All right, Hero Comics here next. So Hero Comics transgender hate mail, homosexual hate mail, atheist hate mail. Basically, me reacting to a bunch of screen caps, comments on YouTube and DeviantArt. The responsive comments I made against the deviant lifestyles and a few other things. Trigger warning: if you don't like what I'm saying, go ahead, click off the video, and go watch something else. You don't want to say is hate speech for my videos. Because there's always reasons for videos to speech hate. That's a different story. We're so close to 400 subscribers. It's gonna be awesome. Also, let's see here. Yeah, it's good to get vaccinated so you can help self spread germs. I got vaccinated for flu a while ago, and that's helping my body be stronger against flu. I got vaccinated for COVID a while ago, and that's helping my body be stronger against COVID. So that's good. It's very helpful. There's vaccinations for all kinds of stuff. Helps our bodies become stronger against it. So that's good. We're gonna do that. Let's look at some not safe for work fan art. Continuing to feature Gwen Tennyson from Ben 10. All went up, and I see a picture here, which I do not like because they put the wrong genitals on her again, and they basically put them over her actual genitals, or her female genitals. The penis and testicles over the vulva, and then of course also basically where she had anal stuff going on there. I'm just like, yeah, no thanks. It was all around wrong, all around wrong. Yeah, it's just an unfortunate issue with bullcrap like that. Let's keep going. A very big, curvaceous version of Gwen. That's very nice. Very, very nice there. I'll see you later. Let's continue on here. For not safe for work with more stuff. You can use one of the conversation me trying to develop base biology. Go on. Now see here. This is some overlap, but well, it's important to talk about so we can don't miss anything. So it says, I say, how? I demonstrate a normally functioning body. That person says, you got scared of the truth. Nobody, you know what else but you made his. Our truth is goes against the truth. So what we're saying is truth, right? This lie is truth, right? Don't really know. Dang it. Pull that Bible out of your behind and open your eyes to lies. And your arguments are so weak it's laughable. We have no actual. What does it say about you? My argument's weak, then why you have no rebuttal against it? That actually destroys the argument. And it doesn't work. I'm sorry. How pathetic you have to be that you cannot tolerate people don't lead the same exact life as you through lies. Not that. The world is not revolve around you only. I'm sure God, the lowercase g, is going to find out your hearsay. Reading directly from the Bible. It doesn't work. Any of y'all knowing and wasting away a whole year in a comment section, God's way will show itself to be built in time. Who are you to try to sabotage divine plans of lies? Divine plans do not involve lying about your Bible section. Next. What if God had created caterpillars with LKG? God had created caterpillars who were true form of butterflies. God has created people whose bodies always need to change to reach their true form and get their wings. Bull crap. Nope. They do. But here's the issue. What's going on is you have people who have perfectly functional bodies angry about getting them because of lies they were told. It's wrong. They're getting that stuff wrong, and they're trying to get them mutilated and poisoned so they can lie more effectively about their medical sex. Hide, disguise themselves, and cower in fear, hoping no one finds out the truth. They may say they don't, but they do. To see all kinds of stuff going on. It's like, someone outed me. Oh no, my fake penis. The girl's fake penis I had. Oh no, this happened in the bathroom. This happened over here. This happened. I'm like, yeah, you're all afraid of being found out. Stop lying. You want to worry about being found out then. Stick with truth. What did Mark Twain say? I prefer the truth more than lies. There's less to remember or something like that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So it's a so hi. I've been reading your how many lies in the comment section. I still haven't reached an end. Do I feel like I understand? Click. And you would have viewed enough to refute it through lies. I would also like to rephrase my argument with the fact that I am a trans, non-binary person. How does that work? So I have experience with dysphoria fear. In terms of the amount I want a transition, I would like a partial transition rather than a full one. So a female, most likely a female. Males do not usually want a partial transition. Because females will basically say, yeah, I'm going to get my breasts removed so I look more like a male, leave my vulva and clitoris and everything alone, just hide that I have that, my breast removed, cut my hair short, then I'll look enough like a man to lie about being a man, being one, and yeah, that's how that could work. Yeah, that's lying, stuff like whatever equals 6. So, next. I would like to specify an argument. So in terms of how to transition like partial transition rather than full one. To lie by doing things partially rather than fully. It doesn't work either. Now, your main argument seems to be that for us stereotypes for insecurity. It does. And that trans people need to learn to love the bias. They do. Let me tell you right now, if I was the only person on earth, I would still feel dysphoric through lies. Yeah, you can't test that. So, no, it's true. It's about how other people treat them. They want to be treated differently. They say, when I'm doing it for other people, and then they say, when I present, present who you're presenting to. I want to be called the right pronouns. Yeah, also that's part of treatment. That's how it goes. This work. Let's see here. I still want to transition lie about my medical sex to other people. No, you wouldn't. No. I'll still be transgender, lie about my medical sex. Afraid of what people think. In addition, to boobs are part of a female body. They are. And penis is part of the male body. That's true. Why would people feel embarrassed about having them? Because the lies they were told. If anything, they're likely to get more embarrassed if they're not having those things. They are of that gender, sex, and no one's making fun of them for having them in the first place. But they would, because of course people are losers. Some people out there are losers who make fun of your normal parts of your body, like your skin, or your boobs, or your penis and testicles, your vulva, all kinds of stuff, your butt, everything, because they're losers. That's how it goes. Next, so it seems pretty unlikely to me that dysphoria is caused by insecurity, other than the fact that it is. Yeah, that's how it goes. Second, you mentioned how some people may believe they're trans because they don't fit the stereotypes they do. Stereotypes, that's how it is. Every single person. Designed to at birth, AGV. I just don't agree with you that people don't have to fit into gender stereotypes, but at the same time, there are some people who don't fit into the stereotypes of the gender they transition, aka the actual biological sex, gender biological sex. For example, I have another trans friend, female to male, so a female, lying about her being a male, who is incredibly feminine. She is comfortable wearing skirts and makeup and does so quite a lot. Heck, she is even comfortable using she, her pronouns. Then why transition? That does not stop him or her from being a trans. Lying about biological sex. Not fitting stereotypes of your type of gender at birth does not make you anything except yourself, other than the fact that you're trying to hide what biological sex you are, so you avoid stereotypes. Ignore that stuff. That's what's over here. Nope, we got time. Let's continue on. Now, speaking of just being yourself, I saw you mention how every mind is unique. True. And therefore, people who are assigned female at birth, females with brains traits similar to that of men, does make them men, does not. Nope. And it makes them themselves, and vice versa. To me, that just means to ask questions. Sure, that means gender identity is a spectrum. Well, identity is a spectrum, yes. Biological sex is not a spectrum. It's male or female. That's it. People being themselves doesn't mean there's a defined gender. There's a defined gender binary, or identity binary, no. But biological sex, there is. There's binary. Let's go. But then you ruin it by saying this. She ruins it. He or she, I think she ruins it by saying this. It means they can express however they want. No, it does not mean they can express however they want, because expressing can be lying. Gender expression is how you basically what is it I said before? Present is also present. The word present and express are the same. You'll be used for the same thing. Disguising yourself as the biological sex you wish to be seen as by other people. It does not mean they can express it whatever they want. No, lying is wrong. It's not like biological sex. Surely people's brains being unique, no, minds being unique, not brains. You can never fully understand how their minds work. Yeah, I can. There's lying, there's right and wrong, so that's how it works. Therefore, you cannot tell any trans-non-binary person out there it's brain dysphoria works, so they should identify. Nope. I can say lying's wrong, so like biological sex. I can do that. No matter which biological sex they're lying about, it doesn't work. Next. Furthermore, you mentioned there being two gender sexes, male and female. There are, and that you are always your assigned gender at birth. Yes, you are. I widely disagree because the lies I was told. Because sex and gender are not the same thing. Yeah, true. Stop lying instead of getting them mixed up. In society and psychology terms, sex and gender are two different things. They are. Sex is a person's biology, with genital genes or genitalia everyone was born with. Yes, that's true. Gender is a cultural and social. Yes, identity. How a person actually identifies. Even if there aren't two sexes according to the lies I was told, because there's intersex, deformed males, and deformed females as well. Someone who's born with atypical, deformed. Genitalia or genetics, most likely genitalia. Genetics, who cares? If it's a male, it's a male. If it's a female, it's a female. Doesn't matter. Gender, as I previously mentioned, is a spectrum. Yeah, biological sex is not a spectrum. Identity is a spectrum. And people can identify however they feel, because that's their identity. But they cannot be lying about biological sex. That's wrong. Next, you brought up that you think people should accept the lies that God gave them. That's true. We got a little time. Keep going. Because they were made perfectly. Now, I did not say they were made perfectly, but I said they were made the way they're supposed to be made. First of all, if not every person believes in the same God as you do, who cares? For example, I am atheist, and all people believe that everything was created perfect. It was not. As someone who, well, it was perfect, but they got corrupted by sin. As someone else in these replies mentioned, a Greek mythology, there's a story of how Apollo got drunk and created humans with the wrong genitalia. And another Christians will disagree with this one you because of lies they were told. Yes, I have trans lying friends who's Christian and still has been out as a trans to me for around 5 years, lying about their biological sex. Cancer mission. First of all, you ask why people would change their body if they work perfectly. Now, let me tell you, the human body is not perfect. It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't work perfectly. As long as it works fine, it's good. People have mental illnesses because of the chemical imbalances and lies they were told. And you'll have chronic disease illnesses because of imperfect genetic code and bad stuff they've done. We will get cancer because the human body is imperfect, because of the poison they ingest. You can't tell people to live and accept their cancer because God made them that way. Nope, that's not the same thing as a perfectly functional body, though. Next. That person is bound to want to do something about it. Similar thing happens to dysphoria, except for dysphoria is all mental, not physical. The person is going to want to deal with it in a healthy way, but they don't. They said they transition. It's not healthy. So yes, that's how you check me out on YouTube, TV, and art.